Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the Dean, and boy, do we have some news for you. Look, if there's no better reason to delay a fantasy draft, you have one right now. Alvin Kamara, news has broken that he has missed 3 days of practice because of supposedly an epidural shot for back pain. There's also word out there that he's buying for a new contract. So with the new CBA, the way the language is written, what is out there, the players prior to this, you always heard about them holding out, about them sitting out, a la Melvin Gordon just last year. So what happened between last year and this year? Well, here's the thing. The way the new CBA is written is that instead of losing about $5,000 a day, these players are losing $50,000 a day. Now, I don't care how much money these guys are making. 50 grand is still a good chunk of change. And these guys do not want to lose that money. So there's this thing now that they're starting is a hold in where they go to practice, but they don't participate. So whether it be migraines from Joe Mixon, who, by the way, just got extended by the Cincinnati Bengals. So signed a contract, $48 million. Look, congrats to Joe Mixon. Glad it worked out for him. But if you want to see the side-by-side comparison from the 42 games, I believe it's either 42 or 44 games that he's played since coming into the league versus the 36 games that Leonard Fournette, who was just cleared waivers by from the Jags. From the 36 games that Fournette has played, they're pretty much identical. If you don't believe me, go to @FantasyDean20 and check out my retweet on Twitter. Okay? Check it out. There's a side-by-side comparison for all those who think that Leonard Fournette is not worth it. But look, Kamara missed 3 days of practice. Supposedly, he's not happy with his contract. I wouldn't be either. Taysom Hill is making just over $16 million this year. Alvin Kamara, 2.1. Tell me how that works out, okay? I'd be a little upset too. But with this news coming out about his back, if it's true, he just made my hands off list, guys. Okay, I know I hate to say it. I live in Louisiana. Okay, I'm surrounded by Saints fans. And everybody is screaming no when they're hearing this news. But if you drafted Alvin Kamara, look, you might want to look for a backup. And I know it's crazy to say, if Latavius Murray is still available in your league and you've already done your draft, go out and get him. If you haven't done your draft, like I haven't yet, for my league of record, if you haven't done it, then please go somewhere else for your running back in your first round. Kamara was being drafted anywhere from what I saw from number 4 till about number 10. Okay, so he was falling in a wide range, but he was still going in the first round. Okay, so my advice, lay off, let someone else deal with that headache. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what you're getting. So we talked before about environmental drafting. So we're going to get into this. And look, I'm going to have a specific injury episode coming up. If you're wondering about injuries, look, there's just way too many injuries to touch on right now as a little hit before the main course. So the injuries have been a main course. I'm going to put together a list for you. I'm going to send it out there. We're going to go over a little bit of it next episode. But for right now, we're going to be talking environmental drafting, good, bad, and I threw in a couple of unstable situations to be aware of. Okay, guys? Now, look, just because these players might be in a bad situation does not make them bad players. I want to be clear about that, okay? These are still guys who can perform, who I'm not saying don't draft, but I'm saying temper your expectations. And if you're given a choice between a receiver or a running back or quarterback or whoever, whatever player, from a bad situation and one from a good situation, always take the good situation, okay? I know that sometimes you see the talent and you see the name of some of these guys, and you're like, Dean, how can I pass on this guy and take that guy? Look, the guy with a bunch of talent, and we always say the talent will win out, but if he's in a bad situation, he's not going to be good for your fantasy team, okay? He's not. You can have really good real life football players and then have really bad players be really good for fantasy, okay? Look at Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston got relegated to a backup position this year. Last year, he threw for over 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Yes, he had 30 interceptions, but just that yardage, even if you just give him half of that, he still threw for more yardage than pretty much anybody you're going to draft this year, okay? So with that being said, let's get into bad, good, and two unstable situations I want to point out. And these are all guys who are legit fantasy players. I'm not going down to the bottom of the barrel and going, hey, well, this guy could be something, this guy could be something. I'm taking guys who you need to be aware of from the early rounds to the mid rounds, okay? The late round guys, look, they're going to be hit and miss. I don't care what their situation is. We don't know. Okay, so I want to make you aware, and I want to help you avoid those traps early in the draft. So we've got a bunch of drafts coming up either this week or this weekend. I'm hoping that this information can get you guys soon enough to give you a hand. Remember, if you've already drafted, down at the bottom, subscribe, like, and share. Shoot me a question. If you've got some guys that wind up on my bad situation list, you want to know what to do with them, hit me up. Let me know. If you're on Twitter at FantasyDean20, go follow me, and I'll follow you back. Okay, I'm a follow me, follow you back type of guy. All right. So let's get into it. Number one, and this is a guy who a lot of people are high on. I'm not so much, just because of the quarterback situation that we're not sure of. Even though the tight end for this team, I'm really high on. I'm loving. But tight ends are a little different than wide receivers. Courtland Sutton. That's right. If you guys have listened to the show, you know I'm big on Noah Fant as a tight end, but I'm very low on Courtland Sutton. Here's why, okay? And you might be thinking, okay, well, he did really good last year, Dean, and, he's got a young quarterback. They're slinging the ball. They're doing this and doing that. And, okay, but here's the thing, and this is why it's a bad situation, or why I believe he's in a bad situation. Courtland Sutton, remember, Drew Lock only played the last 5 weeks. So we're talking weeks, let's just take weeks 12 through 17, okay? You had Joe Flacco before that. With the Drew Lock tail end of the season, where there wasn't a lot of chemistry involved, he didn't have a whole lot going on. If you look at his ranking, week 12 through 17, Courtland Sutton will finish as the wide receiver 34. That's right, 34. He is currently ranked 19th, okay? So that's kind of a big difference. But here's the thing. With Joe Flacco, weeks 1 through 11, he was ranked as a wide receiver 16. Quarterback change isn't always good for all receivers, okay? I believe that Drew Lock can make a next step. I believe he's got the moxie, that he's got the confidence, that he has what it takes to succeed. But they went out and drafted Jerry Jeudy. They have an up-and-coming great tight end at Noah Fant. They've got a big running back by committee with Phillip Lindsay, with Melvin Gordon, okay? You just don't know. There's too many variables here to be comfortable to say that Courtland Sutton is going to be my starter every single week, okay? No. Just stop, okay? Let someone else deal with that headache. Let someone else have unrealistic expectations for Courtland Sutton, okay? Now, Number 2 on the bad situation list is actually 2 receivers. And if you've watched the show before, you know who I'm about to say. That's right. Members of the Brady hype train, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Look, I said it earlier with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston threw for 5,000 yards. He supported 2 top 10 receivers. Okay, great. Awesome. Love it. But Winston's in New Orleans right now. He's a backup to Drew Brees. The guy slinging the ball right now is a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, Tom Brady. Okay. Yes, it pains me to say that, but I got to recognize talent. So, Brady's not Winston. And the situations that the Bucs were in last year led to all of these stats. I've said it before. I'll say it again for those who are just tuning in, or if you missed it before. Environment creates the stats. The stats do not create the environment, okay? So if you have a really good environment, then they're going to prosper. But here's the thing. If you have a really bad environment, if you have a bad defense, if you have a defense that's going to put you in bad situations, you have a quarterback who's throwing 30 interceptions, you're going to be behind. You're going to have to sling the ball. Your running backs might as well sit on the bench if they can't catch a pass, because you have to throw the ball. You're down, 10, 14, 21 points. You got to sling it all over the field. So your receivers are going to have inflated numbers. I can't stress that enough, guys. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, while they are talented, are not worth the position that you have to draft them in this year. Okay? Everybody's out there going, oh, man, Chris Godwin, 2nd round. Mike Evans, 3rd, 4th round. No, stop it. Okay? Brady's there. He's not going to put him in bad situations. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, he either led or he was in the top of the league in throwaways, okay? He's skittish now. He is the 2nd worst behind Josh Rosen in quarterback rating under pressure, okay? He's horrible when he gets pressured. So if that Tampa O-line falls apart, if the defense can get to Tom Brady, he's going to have really bad numbers. That's going to create a bad situation for Mike Evans and for Chris Godwin, okay? Next guy on my list, Stefon Diggs, okay? Look, Stefon Diggs, he's coming into a situation. You got Cole Beasley, you got John Brown. Both of these guys are already established. They already have chemistry with Josh Allen, okay? He went from whining in Minnesota. He's going to be whining in Buffalo, okay? Kirk Cousins, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league, okay, statistically. Josh Allen, not so much. There was a run-first mentality in Minnesota. There's a run-first mentality in Buffalo. They just went out and got Zach Moss in the draft, okay? It's not a good situation, okay? He got a downgrade in quarterback. He's moving laterally as far as the mentality for the run first. And there's already 2 guys who are established wide receivers on the team. Now, is Stefon Diggs more talented than Cole Beasley and John Brown? Yes. Okay. But if you're a defense and you see Stefon Diggs and you see Cole Beasley, who are you going to double cover? That's right. You're going to double cover Stefon Diggs because he's deadlier if he gets the ball. You're fine with giving Cole Beasley that little dunk, slant pattern. What you don't want to have happen is you aren't going to let Stefon Diggs beat you deep, okay? So these are things that you need to be aware of going into this. Stefon Diggs, hands off, okay? Bad situation. Next guy I'm going to talk about, this guy's had a lot of change around him. He's a really talented young receiver, but he's in a bad situation this year. Next year might be a little better. Yes, he might have a couple of breakout games this year, but DJ Moore with Carolina, okay? Look, DJ Moore, they just got Robbie Anderson. They have Curtis Samuel. They've got CMC, who basically was wide receiver last year. I mean, he almost got as many targets as Michael Thomas, which is crazy. His targets, his wide receiver targets or passing targets could rival pretty much any wide receiver in the NFL. And the guy's a running back. So we don't know if he's going to be used the same way, but he has that skill set to be used that way. Why don't we know what's going to happen? Because him and DJ Moore both got a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, and a new quarterback who's actually mobile. Okay. Last year they had Kyle Allen. Trash. Okay. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a perennial backup. Okay. That's it. That's all he is. So DJ Moore is not in a good situation. He's being drafted probably a little higher than what he's going to perform, unless something happens with Teddy or they use him, in better situations. But again, you can't rely on that. Okay. You can get a better deal somewhere else. Now, the last guy on my list, this is a guy who is being drafted as like the third overall wide receiver off the board. Okay, this is a guy behind Michael Thomas, behind Davante Adams. He's a burner. He can have games that are absolutely phenomenal, just explosive games. He has that potential, but he also has the potential to pull a Houdini and just disappear. Okay, I'm talking about Tyreek Hill. That's right, Tyreek Hill, member of the defending world champion, Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I get it. Okay. Big name, big expectations, got a great quarterback, got the same head coach, same OC. Okay. But here's the thing. They got a new toy in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Think they're not going to use him everywhere they can. There is still Sammy Watkins. There is still Travis Kelce. Okay. They still have other guys that can catch the ball. So you want even more proof. You're sitting there going, but Dean, he's the third best wide receiver. Okay. Back up a second. I want you to go to last year's game log. Okay. Last year's game log. Week 1, 2 receptions for 16 yards. No touchdowns. Week 2 through 5, he didn't even play. Week 6, 5 receptions, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game, right? Week 7, 3 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Okay, fine. Week 8, 6 receptions. Now remember, the last week before this was only 3 receptions and a touchdown. So you got 6 receptions. You're saying, okay, well, he should have more yardage, right? He had 2 more yards than the week before and no touchdown. So disappointment, right? That was against Green Bay. Now, last year's team with Minnesota had a really good defense, right? So if you have them on your squad and week 8, week 9, you're trying to vie for that playoff spot. You're looking ahead to the playoffs. You might be in a good spot. You're like, man, I can't afford another bus game. I'm going to sit him on the bench. I'm going to see what this guy does. Guess what Tyreek does to you? Tyreek turns around, has another 6 reception game, but he does 140 yards and a touchdown, probably on your bench. Okay. The game after that, you're like, man, I can't believe I got burned. So you're going to go ahead and start him in a losing effort to the Tennessee Titans. He has 11 receptions, 157 yards and a touchdown. And you're like, man, this is awesome. I can depend on him. He got me, the two out of the last 3 games. I've been really, really happy with him. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start him, plug him in. Cool. Got a bye week coming up on week 12. Then I'm going to have the playoffs. Okay. You want to see what he did the game after he did 11 receptions, 157 yards, and a TD? 0 receptions, against the Chargers. Huh? Then he goes into a bye week, so he's lost to you then. And you're left with that bad taste in your mouth. But you're still thinking about those last 2 games where he just blew up. So you know he's got it in him. He comes back against the Raiders. The Raiders. Defense horrible. What does he do? 5 receptions. You're like, yeah, I know what he can do on 6 receptions. He's got 140-something yards. Great. 55 yards. No touchdowns. As a matter of fact, from weeks 13 through 17, he only had 2 touchdowns, and that was in week 15, and that would have been in your semifinal game to get you into the Super Bowl. So, guys, look. Is Tyreek Hill talented? Yeah, he's talented. Is he worth the 3rd overall or 4th overall wide receiver? Mm-mm. Look, you can go get Julio. You can go get Kenny G. You can even get another decent running back. But there's no way on God's green earth that I'm taking Tyreek Hill and riding that roller coaster. Look, roller coasters make me sick, and if I saw this game log again, remember, guys, we're just getting started, okay? Don't dig yourself in a hole unnecessarily. So, enough with the bad situation. I know. We're all kind of feeling a little hurt. Maybe you already did your draft and you're hearing this. You're like, man, why didn't you come out with this stuff sooner? Look, sorry, guys. I kept telling you guys, delay your draft, delay your draft, delay your draft. You're like, oh, I already delayed it. No. Okay, great. There's other guys out there that you could probably get. You might be able to trade for. If there's somebody out there that in your draft, when you took Tyreek Hill, when you took Stephon Diggs, when you took Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or Cortland Sutton or DJ Moore, they went, man, I really wanted that guy. Go take a look at their roster. Look, I'm getting ready to come up with my good situation. Maybe they've got one of these guys. Go trade for them. Okay? Pull that trigger. Have confidence. Remember, trust your gut. Now, look, I'm not saying that I'm going to be right every single time. No. But I'm pointing out some pretty good observations for you guys. Okay, so take the advice, don't take the advice. That's entirely up to you. I'm here for you guys. Okay? Trying to help you guys win that belt, win that championship, get that ring. Okay? So, I mentioned my 2 unstable guys. We're going to touch on those real quick. We're going to go from bad to okay to awesome. Okay? So, unstable situations. Keenan Allen. Look, Keenan Allen just lost Mike Williams as his running mate. He's got a little hamstring issue. Mike Williams does. So, Keenan Allen's going to be seeing some more targets here in the early part of the season. The reason he's in an unstable situation is because he has an unstable quarterback situation. He's got Tyrod Taylor. Right behind as a rookie, Justin Herbert. Okay? Not really sure what the Chargers are going to do with that, but it's something worth considering, okay? Like I said, if you've got a guy with a bad situation and a guy with a good situation, then you got a guy with an unstable situation. Look, if you believe in Tyrod Taylor, if you believe in the talent of Keenan Allen, which is awesome, but you never seen him without Phillip Rivers chucking him the ball, okay? So take everything into consideration and make your choice wisely, okay? Second guy on my list, Julian Edelman. Look, he's about 34, 35 years old right now. He's not getting any younger. And he's got, for the first time in 20 years, in 2 decades, Tom Brady is not the QB for the New England Patriots. Look, it's going to be weird to see Cam Newton back there, slinging the ball. It's going to be weird to see someone other than Tom Brady connecting with Julian Edelman. I'm sure it's going to be hard for Edelman too. We've seen all the hype stuff coming out of Patriots camp about how much Edelman is in love with Cam Newton. Look, he doesn't really have a choice. And this is camp. We're not even into the first season. Remember, the first 2 weeks of this season are going to look a lot like preseason, okay? Because there hasn't been a preseason. You don't know what's going to happen. Defenses are always ahead of offenses. Don't look for some really high-scoring games, okay? With that said, there will be a couple of high-scoring games because there's going to be a lot of bad defenses that are going to be matched up against some really good offenses. And next episode, we're going to get into the week 1 breakdown. So if you've already done your draft or your draft is shortly coming up, we're going to give you a week 1 breakdown of the best matchups, the worst matchups, and matchups that could possibly be one or the other, okay? I'm going to break down all the games. I'm going to go through all the matchups. We're going to go through all the fantasy implications, okay, guys? So, who's on my good list? Let's get some good news, Dean. Got you, all right? Number 1, A.J. Brown, okay? I'm loving me some A.J. Look, the Titans went in the last year. They went into the playoffs. They played on house money all the way up to the championship game, okay? So, what does A.J. Brown do to wind up on the good list? He's got a stable quarterback situation with Ryan Tannehill. He's got a stable environment. He hasn't lost an offensive coordinator. He hasn't lost a head coach. He didn't lose his quarterback. He's got the same run game with Derrick Henry. They didn't go out and draft a wide receiver to replace him. They didn't get anybody to take away touches from him in free agency. Look, this guy is ready to make that jump, okay? Second year, A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown was phenomenal last year as a rookie, okay? One more year under his belt, one more year with Ryan Tannehill, one more year in the offense, nothing but offseason time to learn. Look, he's going to be good, okay? That's why he's on the good list. Next guy, Terry McLaurin. That's right, scary Terry McLaurin. And if you're thinking this is a homer pick, you might not be far off, but it's a good pick, okay? Here's the option. And you might be thinking, okay, well, Dean, you're talking about stable quarterback play. And Washington's got Dwayne Haskins throwing them the ball. They just got Alex Smith back from the leg injury. And there's rumor about who's going to be throwing them the ball. Look, it doesn't matter who is under center for Washington. They don't have any other options at wide receiver. Terry McLaurin's it. Let's say that a team's going to throw for 250, 300 times a year. Who's going to be catching the ball? Look, McLaurin is set for like 120, 130 receptions. Easy, okay? So don't be scared to draft Terry McLaurin. There's going to be a lot of guys out there doubting him. There's going to be a lot of guys out there that don't believe in Washington, okay? They're going to look at the entire organization and just go, no, I'm good. They don't really have a standout running back yet. I think that Antonio Gibson is going to be something. There's been rumor that Bryce Love has been practicing with the 2s and 3s, that he might not even make the team. They already got rid of Darius Geis. So look, guys, scary Terry McLaurin. He was nicknamed that for a reason. This guy's scary on the field. He's got the speed. He's got the talent. He's got the route running ability. He's got everything that you want in a number 1 wide receiver. Don't worry about going and getting him maybe a little earlier than what you should. You're not going to be sorry with it. He's probably going to finish a lot higher than his ADP is going currently, okay? Next guy, DJ Chark. Now look, I know what you're thinking. Look, Dean, you had DJ Moore on a bad list, but you got DJ Chark on a good list. So what's the difference? Okay, here's the difference. Number 1, they just got rid of Leonard Fournette, so there's no pass catching option right there. Moves to Chris Thompson. Okay. But they've got a stable quarterback situation with Gardner Minshew. Also, they have a horrible defense, and DJ Chark's pretty much their number 1 option. Okay. So here's the thing. When you have a horrible defense, you're going to have a really good offensive production. Maybe not a great offense, but great offensive production, okay? That means that you can pick a guy on a really bad team and have really good results in fantasy. Okay, that's why they call it fantasy football, because it's not reality football. Okay, guys, follow me on this one. DJ Chark, good list. Now, the next guy on my list, I can't believe that I actually put him on here, but I couldn't help it. There's just way too many factors pointing to this guy being a good pickup for fantasy football. He's going to go a little later in your rounds because his name is not Amari Cooper. That's right. Michael Gallup made the good list. Don't pull my Washington card. I'm sorry, nation. Okay. But Michael Gallup, he's the second option. And you're saying, wait a minute. Dean, didn't you talk about, them with Courtland Sutton drafting a player and then Courtland Sutton not being – okay, here's the difference. Quarterback play. In Denver, the Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy deal, you have two options at wide receiver. Then you have Noah Fant. In Dallas, you've got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Blake Jarwin. Okay? But you've also got Dak Prescott. Michael Gallup can be and he is in a very good situation. And with the talent that Amari Cooper has, with the talent that CeeDee Lamb is expected to have, and the production that he's expected to have, and the way that they're expected to use him, that's going to leave a lot of room open for Michael Gallup. It's going to leave him a lot of one-on-one coverage, okay, a lot of man-to-man. So Michael Gallup could be a very good pickup later in your draft for you because he's in a very good situation. So let's say that you're faced with Michael Gallup or Stephon Diggs, Michael Gallup or DJ Moore, Michael Gallup or Courtland Sutton. Look, Michael Gallup is probably a better deal than all those guys. The only ones that I wouldn't put him over is, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Even though they are in bad situations, I think, their quarterback play, and I think that their scheme is going to be better than Michael Gallup because he's not on that level. But Gallup's going to be in a good situation to produce for you. Next guy. Last guy on the list, and we're going to wrap up with this. You guys know how much I love Kenny G, okay? So we're not going to go that route. That's just way too obvious. You already know he's talented. You already know he's number one option. You already know it's a good pick. Here's the other good pick. If you can't get him, this is a Julio Calvin Ridley type deal, where if you don't get Julio, if you want to pass on him and you want to go pick up Calvin Ridley later, great. I totally 100% support that idea. Here's another one. If you can't get Kenny G going in the third or fourth round, then wait a few rounds, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Marvin Jones. Look, he's basically a poor man's Calvin Ridley, okay? He's got chemistry with Stafford. He's already proven that he could go through a year where Stafford missed half of it and still be able to produce. He's the second option, and they got a bad defense, guys. Look, they're going to have to sling the ball. They play indoors, okay? So Marvin Jones is set in a really good situation. There hasn't been a lot of upheaval. He's got the chemistry. He's got his spot locked in. That's what you look for. You look for those locked-in spots when you're looking at good and bad situations, okay? So, guys, I hope that this good and bad situation thing helped. And remember, environmental drafting. Get that mindset. You want to look at the environment that the player is in to determine whether or not they can perform for your fantasy team, okay? So, down at the bottom, I want you to subscribe, like, and share for me. We're going to be doing some different things for my League of Record. We're going to let you guys determine who came away with the best squad. I'm going to be posting it on Twitter, and I'm going to be posting it here on YouTube. So, subscribe, like, share for me. Go out on Twitter at FantasyDean20. Follow me. We're going to have the layout. We're going to have the spread that Zia is going to be providing for us. Also, Keller's Bakery in Youngsville. Check them out on Facebook. You can order through their Facebook page if you want. Look, the meringue pies are awesome. And remember, if you mention that the Dean sent you, you get you 2 free cookies. That's right. Go down and get you some cookies. All right. Everybody needs a little sweet in their life. I hope that this episode helped sweeten up your draft, and hope it helped, maybe sweeten a few sour notes that you might have had coming out of your draft. If you weren't happy with some of the things that happened, if you have some questions you need answered, hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up down in the comments section below. I'll be more than happy to answer and help you out. Okay. To Charles, my boy on YouTube, thank you very much for your question. I appreciate it. If you want to see it, check me out on YouTube, and leave your questions, comments, and any suggestions that you might have for future shows that you want to see, topics you want to see me cover. All right, guys. Remember, I'm here for you guys, and this has been Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I've been the Dean. Thank you guys for checking in. And look, if you're going out, mask up, protect each other, guys. We'll see you next time.